Warning, the following episode of the FrEEK Show contains topics that certain viewers may be sensitive to, such as PTSD and suicide. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the FrEEK Show. I'm your host, Munk, here with the lovely Moose.
Hey, everyone.
And today we are going to be discussing the phenomenon that is Ghostwatch. You can see her shaking her head right now because she just got done watching it.
It is currently 9:45, almost 10 o'clock, and it is very dark, has been very dark for a couple of hours, and I am now sitting upstairs by myself with every single light on as well as my ring lights, so thanks for that.
You're so welcome. And you never heard anything about it before I brought this up.
I'd heard the name of the movie in past, because I follow on Twitter a lot of horror pages.
Okay. Yeah, this is one of those cult classics.
Yeah. So I'd heard the name, because it's a lot of the pages that I follow talk about cult classics. So I had heard the name of the movie, and that was about it. I didn't know really anything about it other than the name.
Alright, so without further ado then, let's just get right into it. So Ghostwatch originally aired in 1992 on Halloween night on BBC One. Little did the creators know that it would upset the nation to the point it was banned for 10 years. Before we get into the reasons for that, let me go ahead and explain a little background on the program. The writer, Stephen Volk, originally wrote it as a 6-part miniseries that was inspired by the Enfield haunting case, which The Conjuring 2 was based off of, but was told that he could do it if it was condensed into one special, to be aired on Halloween. Volk then got the idea, let's film it as if we were doing a live broadcast. So they sent out to get the cast, which consisted of actual personalities from TV and radio playing themselves. You're nodding your head right now because you just watched it and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
You guys will understand in a minute. So Michael Parkinson was already a famous television presenter who typically did talk shows and interviewing people, stuff like that. Sarah Green, who was the reporter inside the house investigating, was actually a presenter on a hit children's television show called Blue Peter.
How did she go from children's television to this monstrosity?
They sent her the script and she loved it. And her husband, Mike Smith, who manned the phones on Ghostwatch, was a radio host. And after reading the script that has been sent to Sarah, he asked if he could be in it as well, which Volk and the producers loved that idea of the husband and wife dynamic. Craig Charles, who played the role of the outside interviewer, was actually an actor from the sitcom Red Dwarf. Also, it's worth noting that the cameraman and soundman were actually professionals in their given fields. They weren't actors at all. Everybody else in the program were actors.
I can only imagine being thrown into that role pretty much and being this is what you're doing now, and being
well, I mean, to be fair, they didn't have very many speaking lines, and they were just kind of in the background, which is what they were already used to doing.
But and they did kind of just do what they were normally doing in their job.
Exactly. So it helped add to that little bit of realism, which now that you hear about it, you understand the exact factors of it and why I said, trust me, it's great. So As I stated, the program was filmed in a way that looked like a live broadcast. Parkinson was in the main studio speaking with parapsychologist Lim Pascoe, played by Gillian Bevan, who had studied the hauntings of the Early family, whose home Sarah Green was inside of, investigating and hanging out with the two daughters, Suzanne and Kim. The story went that for months the family had been haunted by an entity known as Pipes. The name was...
I have paranoia and, I'm stressed about this, just so you know. I'm really freaking out right now.
The name was given to the spirit by the girls after hearing loud banging one night, and their mother told them, oh, it's just the pipes, like the central heating. They discussed the nature of the hauntings, things like glass items breaking, clocks and watches stop working, things flying around the rooms, loud banging, sounds of scratching, as well as the older girl, Suzanne, sometimes speaking in a weird tone, even when her mouth is taped shut, and scratch marks would appear all over her face. In the program, people could call in with their stories. All the calls on the show were fake, of course. Everything had already been pre-recorded. However, the number that was shown on the screen was a real number. It was a real live number that the BBC would use for other live shows.
I hate that. I kind of wondered when I was watching it if, because they were airing it as, a live thing, if that was something that they would have done was, use a real number and, people would have actually called in when they were watching it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. When viewers called this number, they would receive a message that said, the program was such a drama, it's not real, it's fake, however, they were still free to leave their stories. As the show went on, they would receive real calls from real people stating that they could see things in the house or would call in with information about the house. Also, during the program, they would show clips of interviews with people telling their true stories, including one gentleman who didn't want his identity to be known, that they had blurred his face and changed his voice to hide his identity, helping to sell the realism of the program. Eventually, they started to hear banging in the house, to which they discovered Suzanne banging on some pipes, to which she declared it wasn't her. Just when everyone thought it was a hoax, things started happening around the house that couldn't be explained. And you can tell on Moose's face right now. Seriously, in the movie, things go from 0 to 100 real quick.
The first hour of the movie is so boring. Okay, I say boring, in the context of horror movie. Nothing paranormal happens in the first hour of the movie. It's literally them talking about the case, talking about other cases that the parapsychologist has been on, and, her talking about, what she thinks is going on, and then taking calls and taking stories from other people.
It makes you feel like you're watching a news broadcast, a news report.
And then all of a sudden it's why are we going so fucking fast?
So there's loud banging, pictures scattered across the house, marks appearing on Suzanne's face, pictures and mirrors falling out the walls, sounds of scratching and cats meowing coming from underneath the stairs where little Kim Early said Pipes lived. As all this is going on, calls are coming in. One depicting the story of a woman that had lived in the area who would kidnap and murder children. I think the name was Mother Sabadon or something like that.
Yeah.
Another call stating that the caller had been a social worker for a man who used to live there, who had been in the mental hospital. He was a kidnapper, child molester, and murderer. The caller said that the man would claim that there was a woman inside of him that would make him do bad things. The man eventually killed himself under the stairs and wasn't found for 12 days as his cats started to eat his face.
Look, everything from that call on made me so uncomfortable, genuinely hair standing on end, it freaked me out. because it was just like everything had fallen into place at that point. Like when they opened the place under the
the
stairs
glory
and stuff.
hole, as they call
Yeah,
it.
they call it a glory hole, and
They have a
one,
totally different
but
meaning for it here in the U.S.
yeah,
But they call the area underneath the stairs a glory hole.
but when they opened the glory hole and like everything just started falling into place as soon as he made that call, and it made it that much more terrifying to like continue watching and to like kind of piece everything together in your brain.
Okay, so the climax of Ghostwatch ended with callers claiming things were happening in their homes. The crew at the house were experiencing major technical difficulties. Sarah went into the little glory hole and the doors slammed shut. Let's see. In the main studio, there was massive winds picking up. People were running. Cameras were moving on their own. Dr. Pascoe stated that she believed they caused a nationwide seance. Eventually, it ended with Parkinson in a dark studio reciting a nursery rhyme, hinting that he had been possessed.
Don't say it. I'm taking out my headphones if you're saying it because it genuinely like scares the shit out of me.
No, I'm not going to quote it.
Okay.
Then the program ended. So, what was the cause for the ban if this was just a drama? It was even put under the BBC's drama label. I think it was called Source 1. For weeks, it was advertised as a drama, including a cast list that was in a magazine, I believe Radio, or Radio 1, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And in fact, at the beginning of the program was a message stating, now on BBC One, Screen 1, that's what it was called, not Label 1, Screen 1.
Yeah.
Now on BBC One, Screen 1 presents an unusual, but sometimes disturbing film marking Halloween. Over the centuries, there have been countless reports of ghosts and ghouls, but the line between fact and fiction has always been unclear. Using the modern idiom of the outside broadcast, Michael Parkinson, Sarah Green, Mike Smith, and Craig Charles star in Ghostwatch. And then it even gave the writing credits both at the beginning and at the end of the movie. However, a lot of people turned it on after that message was played, or they just weren't paying attention. Also, due to the fact that Sarah Green was on the program, a lot of parents were letting their kids watch it, which they ended up regretting letting them do. Within an hour, the BBC had received between 20,000 and 30,000 phone calls. The lines were so busy, people couldn't even hear the message stating that the program was fake. The nation freaked out. Everyone, especially the kids, thought it was real. Many parents sent their kids to bed before the program ended. People were outraged, thinking that the BBC had deliberately tricked them. Sarah Green had to give a special message the following week on Blue Peter stating that she was okay, it was just a movie, and it was not real. However, within the next couple of years, cases started popping up of the program causing PTSD in kids.
Causing PTSD in an adult?
Well, I mean, technically, this next person that I'm going to talk about was an adult.
Oh, yeah.
One young man, an 18-year-old, I'm not going to state his name, it was said that he kind of had a learning disability, was practically hypnotized by the program. His family and friends and his girlfriend said that he had curled up into a ball during the show and stopped talking, like he was mesmerized by the program. 5 days later, he committed suicide, and in his pocket was a note stating, "If there are ghosts, I will be with you always as a ghost." The family was quick to blame the BBC and even attempted to sue them. And while I don't believe they won, the BBC was told and possibly fined because they were told that they did not do enough to ensure that people did not believe it was real. The program would become taboo within the BBC. It was never aired again, and after the initial backlash, the BBC did their best to hide the program altogether. However, about 10 years later, with the age of the internet happening, people started discussing it. It soon garnered enough attention and a fan base that it was finally released on DVD, and even in 2012, they released a documentary about it. To this day, online, they have started what has become known as National Seance on Twitter, where people are encouraged to start the program at the same time it originally aired and tweet together about it.
That's asking for demons.
So I still have that Archer meme, do you want demons? That's how you get demons.
Honestly, I think the thing that freaks, like, makes it the creepiest or whatever, that makes it the most, like, unsettling and makes you the most unsure is when she's like, we started a nationwide seance. Because you're like, I think that would have been the kicker for most people, because it was like, well, if they started a nationwide seance, we're watching this right now when it's airing. We're part of this now.
Yeah. Like I said, it caused mass hysteria because everyone thought it was fucking real.
Like, I genuinely, like, I would have thought, at that point, I would have thought, because it's convincing. I'll say that. There is some of it that seems very cheesy. It's legitimately
War of the Worlds all over again.
Yeah. But there's some of it that seems very cheesy, very, campy.
Yeah.
But it makes it, I think, and especially, like, there's little parts where it's like, I wish they'd have told us that we were still on. Like, there's parts where it goes to the people and they're like, hey, we're on. And then it continues filming them even when they think they aren't. Mm-hmm. And they act like they're not on camera. And it just seems so genuine and so, it flows. So it makes it, small stuff like that makes you, like, second guess it. And you're like, so, like, had I been watching it when it aired, I probably would have been like, yeah, we're in the middle of this shit now.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people thought. They got so many complaints about it. People saying that their kids wouldn't go to sleep, and they were like, well, they're not supposed to be watching the program anyway.
This was not like sitting down and watching, like, Paranormal Activity or something. Like, those are very obviously, like, fake. I can name at least 6 other movies that almost every single one of those actors has been in. Mm-hmm. But this was something
except
that was
for Blair Witch, I don't think I've seen any of those 3 people in anything else.
Yeah.
Which,
but I mean, this
supposedly
was made
the rumor,
to feel...
there was a rumor going around that the creators of the Blair Witch had actually seen Ghostwatch or heard of it, which inspired them. But I guess according to the director, that's not true. They didn't know about any kind of connection between it at all until after the Blair Witch came out, 5 years later.
Oh. I mean, like I said, though, it felt, and I guess it would have felt more real, like, because those were newscasters and radio actors and, like, people that they knew. Mm-hmm. And people that you could place as, you could place them in, like, talk shows, mm-hmm. or, like, children's shows or radio shows. And it wasn't like, we have 16 actors that I've seen in 8 different Marvel movies sitting there doing this show. It's, it's people that we know. It would be like seeing, like, Jimmy Fallon or
Meredith Vieira,
Jay Leno, like something like that.
Kelly Ripa, her husband.
Yeah, it would be like seeing them in a show like this and being like,
is this real or not?
This might be actually happening, because this is something that they're involved with, is like real life, like real time shows. Yeah. And it, like, I can see where the unsettling, like, where it's hard to draw that line. And I can see where people would be coming from with being angry at the BBC. But at the same time, like, they really did try to say, hey, we've done advanced publicity stuff about this. Like, this isn't the first time you're hearing about it.
Yeah. And even the fact that at the beginning of the program, they went and even stated everything about it. Like, saying this is just a movie. It's just a drama. That's it. But again, you got people that tuned in afterwards that didn't realize it.
Yeah.
And it was technically aired, I believe they call it Watershed. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me in the comments. But it's pretty much after a certain time, they stop showing stuff that's suitable for kids. But because
they do that on our TV.
But because it's Sarah Green, like she was on it, parents were like, it should be okay to let our kids watch this.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh shit.
It would have been like when I was a kid, somebody doing that with like Steve from Blue's Clues or something, and being like, hey, you know, this has him in it, how bad can it really be? And then us watching something that's like, as a kid, yeah, that would be traumatizing to watch. Like, I genuinely can't even, like, the scariest thing I watched as a kid was like the Freddy movies, and that was before I turned like 13 or whatever. Like, I watched Lost Boys and the Freddy movies, like campy 80s horror, but I can't imagine watching something that like that toes that line between real and fake like that.
And it towed it so well.
I can understand the trauma, because like I said, even now, like I love horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know that's about 80% of what I watch is horror movies.
And like throughout the first good chunk of it, you're like, oh my god, like text me, oh my god, this is so boring. Tell me things start happening soon. And I'm like, just wait.
Yeah. And like I've watched some stupid slow movies, and I don't expect much out of like docuseries at this point. Like docuseries don't really do it for me. Documentaries don't really do it for me. If I want to learn about it, I can go read about it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of something that like started out like that, and I really had a hard time staying with it. And then it genuinely, Sean can confirm, like you can post screenshots of what I sent you or whatever. I was genuinely freaking out, and like I was panicking, and I was like, sis, stop.
Don't go in there. Bro, why?
I mean, like,
there was something in the curtains. There was a full-on person underneath the stairs. Which, by the way, this is just a fun little tidbit. Pipes actually originally made an appearance 13 times throughout the program. Some of them were cut, but like it was just like random little peppered in spots where you're like, wait, what? Did I just see that?
There were several points that I was like, okay, there was something there. But I mean, as a 23-year-old horror movie aficionado, I've seen it all. I've been to like a ton of places and stuff that are, super haunted. I have been to New Orleans more times than I can count. This movie, genuinely, like, I'm paranoid. I will just say, I'm gonna flip my camera around so that you can see, like, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been looking, like, off to the side several times throughout this. So right there, that little brown, I know, that little brown door right there is the door to my attic. I hate this.
Well, luckily nothing happens in the attic. It happens underneath the stairs.
But I mean, like, it's that little door, and that door itself is freaking me out. Okay, I usually film with all of the lights except for my ring light off. No, the stairwell light is on, this light is on, my ring light is on, my room light's on downstairs so that I don't have to walk through the dark by myself without a light. I'm freaking out. Like, I hated this movie because I hate stuff that makes me feel like it's real. I hate stuff that makes me feel like I'm immersed in it.
It was done super well in that way, and unfortunately, it's part of the problem of why they got in so much trouble for it.
Yeah.
Because they did it so well. Like,
okay.
I swear, if Stephen Falk ever watches this video, which I highly doubt that he will, praise be to you, my guy. Like, this was amazing. Are you happy that I told you to watch it before we film this?
No, because now I have anxiety.
Okay, but if we did this video, you would
Okay.
then go and immediately after go watch the movie.
You're right, but I'm still stressed out now.
If anybody out there wants to go watch it, you guys can actually watch it for free on the Internet Archive. They have it
Just
on there for
search,
free.
just search Ghostwatch full movie. There should be something that says archive. A couple of options down. Click it, and it takes you straight to the video. It's the full movie. It's in great quality, actually.
So, scale from 1 to 10, what do you think of Ghostwatch?
Oh my god, -700. No, really, it's a good movie. I actually fully intend to watch it again. I'm gonna show Mom.
Now that, like, you know everything about it, and you actually made it through the whole thing.
Oh yeah. So I have this thing where, like, if I'm watching a horror movie and I, like, don't want to, like, fully watch it, I'll be, like, on my phone so, like, I can see it out of the bottom of my eyes. So that's what I was doing for the last, like, 5 minutes. I was, like, panicking. I was, like... But, we're gonna have it up on the big screen TV on Friday, so I guess today, because this is coming out Friday. So we're watching it today.
In the future, ooh, or is it the past? Ooh.
But fully intend to show it to Mom. I mean, I actually sent the link to 3 or 4 of my friends and was like, watch it. So I mean, I highly recommend watching it. Just do it during the daytime.
And also, just so that you folks know at home, there's no music.
No.
Because they wanted to add to the realism of it. So there's no, like, background creepy spooky music playing at all. It's just solid broadcast. Well, broadcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's about it for this episode then. And stay tuned next week when we discuss our first true crime video. Alright? Stay spooky, everybody.
Bye.